Ti съвсем ли не искаш?
Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from Astrolada.com, and today we have a beloved friend and guest of ours, Zorina, who is the CEO of Healnlearn. Hello, Zorina.
Hi, Lada. Good to see you again. It's been a while.
Yes, wow. It's life. What can we say?
Life happens, right?
Little kids.
True.
So, Zorina, you said, especially what's happening in the world now, that today we're going to talk about how to control our fear in the current times. And so many people right now are writing to me, will there be a third world war? What is happening? We were not given a breath of air. First, coronavirus scare, after that, third world war scare, and people are losing their minds, or it's just too much on the nervous system. What suggestions do you have?
I'm sorry, Lada, my connection was unstable, so I didn't hear exactly what you said, but I kind of got the drift. I just wanted to say that I'm here to talk not so much about political things, but about the way you think, about how you perceive the news, how you perceive the world, what triggers you, things like that, so as to give you more strength in these times, so as to kind of shake you off of the mesmerizing, I would even call it, of news and of everything that is going on. Because very often we don't discern facts from reality. We are told on one side that these are facts, on the other hand we are told that something else are facts. In reality, we can't properly fact check any side. Mm-hmm. So the question is, where do you stand in your perception of the world, and what can you do about it? Because if you think about it, most fear is perceptual. It's not something that is happening to you, but it's about the future, what you think is going to happen to you in the future. And these are usually things you can't control. Mm-hmm. And so most people are not even thinking about what they can change. Although I can tell you, I've had two friends recently, and that actually triggered me to call you and to ask to make this video, because two friends told me, with families with small kids, they said, we're moving because of what's going on in the world. And then
where are they moving to? Mars? It's happening.
but that's the thing. One couple is moving outside of Europe, but that's no guarantee. I mean, whatever is in Brazil is more or less the same in Europe.
Yeah.
You know, you can always argue otherwise, but just saying that there is no safe place on earth, but what is safe on one hand? What is safe? What are you afraid of? And these are all triggers. So at the moment, we are being triggered about the nuclear war. Maybe I shouldn't even mention this on your channel, but you know, as I'm not speaking about any side, I hope it's okay. But think about it, first of all. This topic has been going on for years and years and years, the fear of nuclear war. And there's even an index, I don't know if you've heard about it, the nuclear war index. It's called just before midnight or something like that. And right now it's 60 seconds till midnight. Mm-hmm. And that's like the redemption or the completion of something. Midnight is considered to be the completion of something major event. So now, according to this index that's been measured since the 50s, we're very close to such an event. Mm-hmm. But again, this is a measured index. It's not reality. Somebody's telling you that that's the fact. And I can tell you that this index showed that we were very close to such an event in 2016.
Oh,
almost at the same, exactly. But so, and what happened in 2016? I think it was wasn't this the Syrian
war?
War, I think so. I'm not quite sure. But in any case, we're very close to that event. Very close in terms of perception, not so close in terms of the actual happening. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I would say is, you know, people should see what triggers them and to what extent is this true or not. Because first of all, let me tell you that you know that I had studied business and I had worked also in strategy. And my strategy professor, who was very good, he said the first thing that you look at when you are thinking about a strategy of a company, and when you're studying a strategy of a company, is who is the CEO related to, who is the owner related to, who are the board members related to, what family connections are there. So I can tell you, it's not anything that you read by the book. Now I'm going to employ this strategy or that strategy. It's the interests behind.
Mm-hmm.
So who is connected to whom? And this will tell you what the underlying interests are that drive this company, or the reason for the success of that company. For example, the owner of Mango or the owner of Inditex who own Zara, they all succeeded. One because their cousin invested in them, the other one because they had, again, somebody from their family with a very wide distribution network. So it's not hard work, it's not chances and luck. It's mostly
interest,
being
financial interest.
Exactly, and being connected to the right people. So why I'm saying this, now I don't want you to, I'm trying to move away from being labeled as a conspiracy theorist or something like that, but really check who owns the media, who owns that, and why is the interest of any media on either side, what is the interest of them being censored or being one-sided? Again, I'm not saying this is right or this is wrong, because in the end, there is no, I have an opinion, but there is no ultimate right or wrong side, because in the end, these are all people that are going to suffer. These are not the people that are leading these strategies. These are the people, families that are going to bear the consequences of what's going on. And so really think about who owns the channels and what their interest is when they tell you a certain piece of news.
I feel absolutely no fear this time, because first time when the pandemic came out, it was something new. I was glued to the TV and I was fearful at the beginning, till it started coming out that it's all like made up statistics, or it's like playing with statistics and so on, like the number would be the same like flu, but they would never announce it before and so on, and a lot of fear mongering, and then total lack of belief in all the media after this 2-year circus. And now I don't watch the TV, so I'm not, everyone is worried, but for me the easiest thing to stop me from fear was to stop watching TV and the news. I just watch things that are uplifting, things that how to improve myself, how to grow food, how to be self-sufficient. If you're afraid of the world falling apart, you need to be as self-sufficient as possible. So I'm like, instead of freaking out, watching those things that will increase my anxiety, and I feel so peaceful. I'm like, there was even a prophecy from 200-300 years ago from Mother Shipton. It was like, I've read this, it's like a long poem that it was written by this prophetess in England. And she describes that the devil will be working through a moving box with figures. That's that nowadays television. And she said, the devils and the demonic entities will work through those things to control people and to influence their minds. So I've learned my lesson with the TV, because I went through some extreme panics with the fear mongering that was created. And every time I would get a cold, I thought I was dying. Probably so many people, some people have died indeed, but it was 2 years of a lot of fear. So I'm like, I can't do this to myself anymore. So the best way is to disconnect from social media, or from just watch something that it's educating on you. Doesn't mean don't go on the internet, but learn something, study something, read something uplifting, because the ultimate goal of the media is to keep you in fear, because only fear generates profits, something that drives your adrenaline, because it's addictive. You go back for more, for more, for more. It's almost like you become like a junkie for crisis stories and crisis situations and dramatic news. Because if they tell on the news stories how people are helping each other, how things are going well, it's not as addictive. It's more vanilla.
That reminds me of a study. You've probably watched it. Maybe many of your viewers have. There's a professor in psychology from the University of Ghent, Matthias de Smet, who talks about mass psychosis, and right before the pandemic started, a few months before that, he had seen that the stress levels in society had been rising a lot. So he was prepared. He's been studying stress events for a long time. So he was prepared already in December about an upcoming event. And mass psychosis, he said, appeared at the time of the Second World War, when people were so programmed, the Germans specifically, to apply their philosophy, I guess, at the time. And he questioned, how is it possible? Because people are people. In the end, they were mass programmed. And a lot of these things happened in the past 2 years, and it's continuing. But what he argues is that the people tend to buy in to such a story. It's like it's like series that you watch on TV. It's like the new Netflix. People buy into such a story because it moves them away from their own stress levels. So they need this adrenaline.
So
right?
they need the drama that's happening in the life
exactly.
of someone else or outside. So you avoid your own.
Exactly. You avoid to look at your own triggers of your own stress. So when you're watching something that triggers you, see what is this thing that is triggering you. Is it fear? Is it it's usually fear, but why? Question a little bit more. Why am I fearful? Is it or do I experience hatred towards a specific figure that I'm watching on TV? Why am I feeling this? And look what you're actually trying to express, but you're just focusing your attention elsewhere. And so I also wanted to remind people that we've talked with you about mind programming before, with TV, what methods they use. That was long ago. But think about the carrot, when they're waving the carrot, and what is happening in the meantime that you're not seeing anymore.
That's the distraction.
What are you not seeing? Distractions. What are you not seeing anymore? And there are major events happening right now that directly concern you.
Like what?
That are not, like what? Like QR code being introduced everywhere in the world.
What?
Legally.
I thought they removed the green passports.
Unfortunately, this is going to be an ID, digital ID. It's not going to be only a health ID. It's going to measure all your activities online. It's going to be linked to your bank activities. Basically, this is the social credit system that you don't believe that is possible to happen in nowadays society, but it's already being introduced.
So what you would look at the social credit system if you're watching something against the government, if you're talking unconventional ideas, or what? If you're saying
anything
that there is
your
different
health,
just for cancer, all these things that are not allowed now, that are not.
Yes, and even worse, it's all going to be digitally controlled. So it's not going to be a specific person that follows you or checks whether you're crossing their narrative or not. It's going to be all AI controlling by trigger words, by whatever. And then you have a score, and then you're not going to be allowed to travel, or you're not going to be given health assistance or benefits or whatever. So this is already it's on the go in Bulgaria. It has been announced as a plan for 2022 by the Prime Minister, and it's
even in Bulgaria,
it's being rolled out.
Second world country, if it's happening all over the world.
Well, it's still a part of the EU, so everything that is going on in the EU is happening here as well.
Can I ask you, if you don't have
so it's not an isolated.
What are we going to do? People who don't want to be part of this. What can they do? They live on the fields like we do, like you're in the mountains.
I mean, on the road in the mountains. More or less, you have you have to make a choice at some point. You will have to make a choice. You've mentioned it many times, Lada. There's going to be a formation of a secondary society of communities and so on. And I think we're on the precipice of this.
Now that's a scary story. Atomic war, not so much. I believe there is higher powers that will not allow this, because that will be total destruction of the experiment here. But I believe that they would, and there are many stories and life stories of whatever it's called, like when they're trying to explode atomic missiles, when some entities or spaceships or whatever, just totally disable it. So I don't think they'll allow this. But now what you're saying about the IRQ code,
QR code, yeah.
That. So you have to choose to agree with the system, to be very vanilla and never have any opposing opinions and live by the rules. They tell you, take this medicine, do not go there, do this, and you'll be fine. Or you have to go totally partisan and hit for wow.
Not necessarily. I think there will be like a secondary, as you said, like a secondary community. People can develop their own independent currencies, their own independent bartering methods, because at some point, I mean, while the carrot is waving, it's not the only thing that is happening. The financial crisis is looming, that's obvious. Whether it's set up or it was coming anyhow is irrelevant. The question is, people will soon, and that's not to scare you, but lots of jobs will disappear. Lots of people will not be able, maybe, to find the same kind of job that they used to have. So start to rationally think, what can you do in case you lose your regular income? What other methods of self-sufficiency can you have? You know, not everybody can go grow their own food immediately. At some point they can, but immediately very few people can immediately change their lives. But you can make some sort of a realistic plan instead of being scared. You know, what could happen to me? But start making a plan and see concrete steps, just like with a nuclear threat. It could happen, it could also not happen. I told you that this nuclear index has been high before as well. So whether it will happen or not, nobody can tell. For me, it's simply the carrot waving at the moment. But if you really are scared, there are things you can do to prepare. Like, for example, what can you do in case of a nuclear threat? What is there to do? What is the actual threat? People are very scared, but they don't really know what the consequences are or how to protect themselves. Or there are plenty of videos online where you can check what to do in case of a nuclear attack. And I can tell you that within 15-kilometer radius, if you're outside of this radius, it's really not that dangerous. It's only dangerous if you're immediately at the impact place. Otherwise, you can protect yourself. And within 2 weeks, when all the airflow has, when it's rained and all the particles are down, basically you're out of threat after 2 weeks. So if you can duck and cover and just go out at night, or, things like that, concrete steps you need to know just to give you more security, that you know what to do.
No, it's not gonna come to that. Let's hope.
I don't think so either. But the mere plan, exactly, to calm yourself.
Is that what the media is talking? They're talking nuclear war.
Yes.
Wow.
You can't imagine how many friends I've had that were so worried about a nuclear war. My mom even sent me to the pharmacy to order those iodium pills that you're supposed to take in case of a nuclear war. People are really scared. And that's why I actually wanted to talk to you, not specific about anything else, but to let people know that it's really about making some small plans, not over prepping, but just knowing what you would do. This will calm you down, and to know that there are other underlying processes going on at the moment that are unrelated to the events in Russia and Ukraine.
What other things are happening that we are being distracted from?
Well, the Pfizer documents are released of the tests that they had. They were secret they were supposed to be locked for 74 years, but now they're out. Nobody's talking about that because all the side effects and everything.
They're 9 pages with all the possible existing diseases. And out of 26,000 people, or how was it, 49,000 people that were tested, 3% died so that's 3% mortality rate. About 2,000 or something died. That's 3%. That's way higher, 10 times than the mortality of the illness. But of course, no one is talking about it. That's why I don't watch news, because I just get angry, because never the important news it is important what's happening in Russia, but where did the illness disappear now suddenly.
Yeah, let me give you an example of the illness disappearing. So 2 weeks ago, the hospital beds in Bulgaria were about 2,000 taken by patients with this disease. Today, this week, they're 500. So 4 times less, suddenly nobody's talking about them. From
Almost
1 week
like
to the
people
next.
are not mesmerized on TV. They don't go to hospital scared to check themselves. And how many people that I know were killed, young people, because of what they gave them in the hospitals. That pisses me so much. I have 2 friends that lost their husbands. The husbands went there with a sniffle just to be checked. They put them on remdesivir. They put them on super heavy corticosteroids and on something that killed them. My 2 friends said they went there well. They just wanted to check if they have the flu or COVID, and they kept them there and they killed them. Healthy people in their 30s. So, and suddenly people are not afraid of it because it's not on TV. They don't go there. They don't kill them anymore. Sorry, I'm angry with that because everyone stopped talking about it. Who is going to look for accountability for all the people that were killed in hospitals, for all the people that were killed out of fear? And
you'll never hear about it anymore. The narrative has changed, and now
because they don't want anyone to look for accountability there. And so I don't feel fear, I feel anger. Well, no, but I see God always uses everything, even the worst things, for good. You know, I've been talking for years now that this is what the predictions are from Master Bean Saduno, from Rudolf Steiner, from Rosicrucianism. This is the esoteric, Western esoteric tradition. All their prophets, they said that from Russia and Eastern Europe will start the new sixth culture, post-Atlantean culture, which will last for it's not going to be just there. They'll give the pattern, the new morals, the new way of living. And from that on, it will last 2,000 years. This is the age of Aquarius. And from it, the sixth root race will develop, which will be 100,000 years. And that will be the root race of the people that are kind of like saints. They'll have light around them. That's very far into the future. But the next 2,000 years, the sixth post-Atlantic culture epoch will be, the methods will be given from Eastern Europe, and they'll be applied first in Russia. And I'm thinking that what's happening now in Russia, I'm not excusing their leader. This is aggression, it's physical, it's killing people. But God will use this to capsulate Russia. Now they'll have no access to the rest of the world. Now they'll have no exchange with other cultures, no Coca-Colas, no porn, even they stop from all this, no Western morals, which they were very open. They've embraced Western morals in the last 20, 30 years since the fall of communism. But that was it's corroding the modern, very woke patterns. We've begun, I'm not conservative, but when you go on the other extreme, it becomes perversion and of morality. So and I spoke with friends from Ukraine and from Russia that live in Bulgaria, and they said, we think it's a good thing that actually now Russia, okay, we're sad, we won't be able to go see our parents or loved ones, but they would create their own culture. They would create all their production now of food, of technology. They'll give a new pattern. Maybe it will take a few decades to give this pattern to the world. I'm not saying that it will be Putin that gives the pattern. It will be the people. It's not the leaders. People are not the same as their leaders. The people will create the change there. Maybe that's why they have to be capsulated from the outside influence. That's what I'm thinking, because how else will this new moral and system and culture develop? So maybe that's what is God's plan as well, which does not excuse any physical attacks. Again, I say it will come from Ukraine as well. It will come from Russia. It will come from the other Slavic cultures like Hungary and Poland, and that will later unite. Sorry, I went on a rant. That's why it's very saddening to see those countries fighting. But again, it will be used by the forces of progress for the good eventually. But now it's very saddening. So again, I don't see fear. I am again encouraged that there is movement towards this new distribution of the world, and the new, not of the world, but of the new concepts that will take maybe a couple of decades to develop.
Yeah. Yes. You said something very important, a lot of important things, but one of the things was not to identify with the leader of a certain country. I also have friends Russian friends here and everywhere in the world. And so they started apologizing for the fact that they're Russians. Or whenever they go to a shop in a small village, the shop owner would say, "Oh, what are you doing?" Like not like you identifying the person as, excuse me?
As if they're bombing the...
Exactly, as if it's their fault, as if it's their decision to do whatever. And here's where this antagonism needs to be recognized, that it's not the people doing certain things. The processes are on this military level are driven by individuals, but what you're talking about, Lada, are movements from the grassroots. These are movements that people will start, that are not antagonizing on top. And that also leads me to the third thing that is happening while you're looking at the carrot. And that is the upcoming financial reset. And yes, because a lot of these things, whether naturally or not, are already leading to the financial reset and the forming of certain interest blocks, economic blocks, like Russia already focusing a lot of their trade with China and with the other BRIC countries, BRICS. And so what can you do though? Can you just complain about inflation? Can you just complain about gas prices? Or what are the actual steps you can do to put yourself out of fear, to have some plan? Because this is what people don't do. They're just, what is it called? When you're stiff, they're just stiff, not moving, panic. Paralyzed, exactly, paralyzed. What will I do with this inflation if I don't have a job? First of all, breathe. That's the first thing, to relax, start breathing, and then the ideas will start coming. It's clear that we're moving towards or like the majority of the society is moving towards a digitalized society. So the first thing is look at that. It's everywhere in the news that the major economies already have their digitalized currencies. There's a digital dollar, digital euro, digital yen, digital Russian currency. Everything exists. The question is,
that's what we've been using anyway. When you go to get a loan or whatever, you're given digital money. So how is it different? Now you won't be able to take any cash out. That's it with the digital.
Eventually, that's the plan. That there's full. Eventually, that's the plan, that they have full overview of all your spendings, of everything you do, so that at some point when needed, your tap can be turned off if you're not acting appropriately in whatever shape or form. For example, let me give you an example. Now, while Russia Today, the RT, was blocked in Europe, so nobody can watch it anymore, at the same time, Austria announced today that they're fining everybody who translates these programs in German. They will be fined 50,000 euros. 50,000 euros fine if you translate.
The other side of the story. You can't hear the side of the Russians, no matter what.
You can't hear. You can't hear it. There's imposition on both sides. So Putin says if there's anybody coming up with fake news about Russia, they will be prosecuted. But at the same time, Austria and I'm sure other EU countries say, I'm going to fine anybody who tries to speak something and translate what Russian media is telling you. So that's really very harsh control.
So both sides are using tyrannical measures, but basically since the conjunction of Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, which will last 35 years or something, the governments have become tyrants. And it will continue to be tightening and control with different varying degrees. Now it's about war, freedom of speech. It will keep, they'll make all the different scenarios so they can be banned on medical, whatever, all kind of total control. Unfortunately, one of the streams that started astrologically, we can't do anything about it. We can just try and be as humane as possible. It's kind of that's what we come here to experience, different scenarios, to experience different circumstances. And to be honest, think about it. Life has been so hard before. I mean, my grandma, she lost 8 children out of 10, and she said it was normal
Wow.
for people to lose half of their children. Now I'm thinking if my child breaks my leg, I'll enter depression. And they went through so much. They went through war after war after war. Hunger. My grandma was telling me, great grandma, that they would go for days without food, and that was normal. And they were dropping like flies. They had no conveniences. Well, now we're going to experience a bit of Capricorn energy, but it's not going to be as bad as it was before. It was going to be bad on a different way, most not so physically, like more psychologically as well, and learning to live more within means, and learning to be more self-disciplined, learning to be more mature, organize ourselves. And these are the good Capricornian qualities we have to develop. And of course, Aquarian, because it's another trend running of for the next 20 years of Aquarius, learning to recognize truth from falsehood. This is what Aquarius is, recognize the truth, and learning to be self-informed. Like one of the biggest bad things to do now is to try and read on something and to inform yourself rather than trust the expert. But they should do the opposite, because that's one of the big other tests we have to learn, to become a bit of an encyclopedia man, a Renaissance man.
Yeah, but rather do it yourself than rely on established channels, because I can tell you, I've asked my mom, when I tell her news and she says, well, how do you know that that's true? And I ask her, well, how do you know that what you're watching on TV is true? Is there anybody fact checking that? No.
No, do research with even the search machines now. They don't lead you to whatever you want, only to approved sites. I don't know. It's if you're looking, let's say, if you're searching for something, independent information, you'd always find it. Just start searching. Don't get desperate if at the beginning you all get the same answer that is copy pasted in the official website. Sooner or later we'll get, and I don't know if it's true, but is it true that they're planning on banning growing your own food, making it illegal? Like, say that it's dangerous. I've heard such things as well.
This I'm not quite sure. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, there are a lot of talks of like nationalizing your property. That might include land. So people need to be just alert, awake, and look at there's always a door, I would say. Whatever imposition is out there, you just have to know about it. There's always a doorway out. So it could be possible. I don't know. I guess it depends on country per country. Eventually, it's going to be rolled out everywhere, but for sure, there will be a way out. So, and what I also wanted to tell people is, knowing that there's a financial reset coming up, whether it's going to be now in a year or in 2 years, it's looming, it's coming. We are being moved towards a digitalized society. So start checking already what the benefit you can make for yourself out of it. There's a standard coming out of the US called ISO 2022, which is coming out around August this year, which will allow only a number of cryptocurrencies to be used, I think. So do check these things out. I know that for a lot of people, cryptocurrency is still far away on the horizon. They believe that, it's something minor. But we are moving in this direction with a great speed. So
I think to keep the pace. There'll be like a big change there, because Uranus, the North Node, which is all about digitalization, in Taurus, the sign of money, meeting after eclipses around the summer, something like that will happen. And within a year from then, it might become the process are starting, and within a year it might be put in place. And the financial collapse, there'll be a financial collapse within a year. By the end of the year, I think, not just a market correction, more serious, because it will give more of a reason to change our money and all the financial system. But again, don't there is, if what I've always noticed, if don't despair and think there is no way out. When you start looking, you will always find a way out. I've always learned that. What is regressive forces want you to feel so out of depth, like there is no solution, like everything is beyond you, like there is no way, so insignificant. It's not true at all. Humanity is so inventive. We always find a way, and depends on which side you want to be with. Whatever is your priority. If you really want it, it can happen. But yeah, all of this that you said is coming. The financial reset, changes of professions as well. And by the way, you're really good. Zorina is really good at helping you figure out. She has a special method, making you figure out how to discover what is truly for you. And it uses business skills and methods plus psychological and kind of intuitive, more mystical tools like silver methods, like meditation. She combines all of those. And I think your courses now are 50% off till the end of the month, aren't they? In March?
Actually, 80% off. I have on all my recorded courses. I'm for the whole month of March, because I am focusing more on live courses. I think I give a lot more value on my live courses, and so I want to make available really for a very low price everybody who wants to taste what it was like to be in a live course, because most of these courses were live before they were recorded.
And they can do the exercises as well.
Of course, they can follow the exercises. They can participate even in the mastermind groups, even if they were recorded. Mastermind groups by the Silver Method and other methods. Yeah.
What are the courses about? Finding mission?
One course is about finding your purpose. Another one is starting a business with meaning. And that's a very comprehensive course. It has 11 or 12 sessions. Some of them are with guest lecturers. Then I have the Clear Karma course that's based on a different system, further energy information development. And there's another course about, it's a bit more business, like the new game of leadership. That's a course from last year with 14 participants, 14 lecturers on the topic of leadership. Yeah, exactly. I think that's about it. I have 5 courses now that
that's great.
80% off.
I'll put a link in the description below. And is there like some code or something to access the?
Yes. There's a code with your name. I think it was Lada 80% off.
Okay,
I have to check it, but you can put it under.
And as a concluding words, I want to say thank you so much, Zorina, and I want to tell people, don't worry, whatever has to happen will happen. We're at the end of the collapse of a system that has gone on for too long, too outdated, thousands of years. The dark ones have been in power. The last push, there will be most evil, most extreme between the last decade of this experiment. After that, according to all prophecies, within our life will come the time of love and brotherhood. And what is happening now is the preparation for that. And the only thing that will keep you safe is keep a good heart and be kind, decent people. Don't go attacking others that have different opinion. Don't go burning bridges. Actually be kind and loving. I mean, don't be a doormat. That is, and if your vibration is high, you'll be preserved, because this is what God needs in the universe for the creation of the next cultural epoch. So just keep your hearts pure and kind. And of course, do some practical preparations. We can't be like children anymore. We need to be a bit prepared as well. And by finding what your mission is, so then your vibration is naturally high, or finding what really is aligned to you for achievements, what talents you have, and doing that thing. And that's the easiest way to keep your vibrations high for me. And not just.
I love your closing words.
Thank you, Zorina. What would you say to people?
What would I say? I would say have a plan in your mind, but don't over prep. You can never be fully prepared if you're thinking that having food for about a year can save you. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Maybe there will be an earthquake or something that you haven't thought about, you can never be fully prepared. The only full preparation is to feel secure inside yourself, to know that you can trust the universe, to know that you can trust yourself, to know that you can survive under any conditions, to know that you can survive in different means but money. So relationships with people are important. To trust humankind, I would even say.
Because we
Yes,
stopped doing that in the last 2 years.
Yeah, to trust
but
humankind.
I see even in how the world has united for right now because of their compassion for Ukraine. And I hope they feel the same compassion for the Russian people as well, because they're also going through a lot. But it shows me people are deeply compassionate, and that's what dark forces don't really like about humans. And no matter how much they try to scare us, actually when the most scary things happen, that's when humans help each other the most. And I really hate shows like Walking Dead and such ones, because they always show cataclysm happens and people start killing each other. No, when cataclysms happen, people unite. And I know that when the scariest things happen, that's when people show their humaneness the most. Rather than start killing each other on the streets. Maybe a small percentage, maybe 1% of psychopaths will do that.
Yeah.
But not the other humans. So, so thank you so much, Zori. I'll put a link below for the 80% discount on your incredible courses. And looking forward to see you again.
Good luck, everyone. Be healthy and happy.